we're having conversations about like whether or not we want to continue to add to our family, which is so interesting because I've always been someone that was like, nope, I'm 2 and done. That's all I can handle. And now I'm like having this debate between my head and my heart. It feels like a big decision both ways, you know. Have another child feels very big.
I know I'm in for a third, but it has to be something that you're okay with.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like, oh, you get to make the decision, because I'm okay either way. If you're like, hey, we're going, then we're going. And if we're not, we're not. And then we just close the chapter and it's all good because we have an amazing little family.
Yeah. But then also to like close out a chapter and not fear that like we'll get down the line and be like, gosh, I wish we would have had that third.
And that's the human life experience. You never know if you made the right decision. Welcome to this episode of the Late Night Date Night podcast. And I had no idea we were going to talk about this today, but on this episode, we're going to talk about the conversation Lizzie and I have been having about whether or not we want to have a third kid. And in that conversation, what are the things that we're thinking about? What are the things we're weighing? And what are the changes that we know that we need to make as a couple in order to make sure that if we choose to, well, it's a little bit different experience than the first time. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
I didn't expect to be in this position where we're having conversations about whether or not we want to have a third child. Because after Endo was born, our family felt so complete, I felt whole. I was so happy because you were home and you spent like the first month with us just at home and away from your business, which I like am so grateful for. And now, like a year and a half later, we're having conversations about like whether or not we want to continue to add to our family, which is so interesting because I've always been someone that was like, nope, I'm 2 and done. That's all I can handle. And now I'm like having this debate between my head and my heart of like, gosh, I'm finding it so hard to like close this chapter in my life where I'm never going to be pregnant again if that's what we choose is right for our family. But then also like not really loving pregnancy and feeling like responsible for this little life in my belly, but then also like loving where we're at and not wanting to like go back through like the hormonal roller coaster and like the
that was so much fun. I love the hormonal roller coaster. I thought it was like super easy to navigate as a guy.
Try being the woman.
Is this one of those things? Is this one of those things where it's kind of like moving? You know, like every time you move, you're like so excited because you bought a new house, and then you have to pack up all the things, and then somehow like the first few boxes make it in, and then before you know it, you and your wife are fighting about trying to get the couch upstairs because it doesn't fit, and then she puts a ding in the wall, and then 3 days later you're exhausted and you're just covered in sweat, and then you're like, I'm never gonna fucking move again. Mm-hmm. And then 4 years later you're like, but we found this house, time to move again. And you're like, it's kind of like the hangover effect. You forget how much it sucks, how much it hurts. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I'm with you because I've been in the same spot, like wondering, do I want to have another little one around here? Do I want to experience the ride of pregnancy and then the year after pregnancy, right? Because it's a 2-year experience, 30 seconds of work for a 2-year experience. Hopefully you guys picked up on that. But I mean, that's the reality. That's what it is. And I sit in this place of like, well, how is it going to impact us? How is it going to impact the boys? How is it going to impact the business? How is this going to impact our lifestyle? Mm-hmm. There's all of these thoughts that I'm running through, and I don't have a solid answer.
No, neither do I.
When I think about it.
Neither do I. And it's hard to be in this place of like, I want a decision, but because like I want to move forward and like not feel like I'm just having this debate within my head like every single day of like, can I do it? Can I still be a good mom to like another child and 3 children? And like, what's that going to look when they start, you know, having more activities or playing sports or and having different like friend groups and stuff? Like, how can I still be there for them when there's another one, when I already judge myself enough when we already have 2 and I feel like I can't be there for both of them right now. But I think that's just me trying and wanting to be a good mom.
Trying, or you just are? you are a good mom. Bad moms don't ask themselves these questions, right? So like, why don't we just rewind the tape a little bit and just set the playing field for a second? You're a great mom. You're operating from a place of you don't want our boys to not be in our life like what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
And so you play from a game of fear.
Yeah, that's true.
And you never give yourself enough credit. I'm not enough as a mom. I'm not doing a good enough job. Never forget that our sole job is to raise them to not need us. That's it. Now, that doesn't mean at 3 years old, I'm like, all right, good luck out there.
No.
But at the same time, there is this place of like, hey, he needs to learn, Luca needs to play independently. Enzo needs to learn how to do certain things. And part of that is created because of the circumstances in the home and us doing things and just not being able to be fully present and with them all the time. But when we're with them, we're with them. And at the same time, right, it's us wanting to be there and to help them.
Yeah.
And so my question is like, when you think through all the scenarios, of course, it sounds like a lot of work. It sounds not even just terrifying, it sounds like a lot of work.
Overwhelming.
And
Can I do it?
And if you think about the two pregnancies that we've had and the experiences that we've had, Luca was, not the pregnancies or the birth of Luca or any of that, but the dynamic between us, they've both been challenging.
Yeah.
Luca was challenging because neither one of us had any clue what we were doing, and there's no playbook to this game, even though everybody will try to give you a book when you have a child.
Yes.
And at the same time, with Enzo, right, I came home, but then I was gone for the entire year. So we have two pieces or two sample sizes of things that were very challenging. Like, I'll never forget coming home after we made the decision that you're going to be a stay-at-home mom and I was going to be the sole provider. And I had to cover $140,000 in income just to keep the same lifestyle. Right. The pressure was insurmountable. I wasn't sleeping. I was working nonstop. I was convincing myself that I had to work harder and harder and harder, because knowing that not only was I trying to take care of you, but I was trying to take care of my son and trying to be a good dad and still take care of myself. It was a lot. And I learned a lot in making those mistakes. And then when Enzo came along, you know, I put everything on pause for a month, and to let go of my business for a month and be like, hey, like, let's see how this plays out. And a lot of it broke. And then to be able to but have those moments, like, it was really special being able to push Luca every day in the stroller and take him to the park while you were back breastfeeding, and then you and I could have a conversation. And it brought us very close together. So inevitably, like, yeah, I think pregnancy and a change in a dynamic is going to be hard. But when we slow things down and we're not logically thinking about it, what happens?
Well, that's when the heart takes over, and it's like, okay, it's like this higher self of being like, okay, it might sound hard, but like, if you want to do it, you can do it, and like, you'll figure it out. And part of me feels like, you know, a third would be this healing experience, because it's an opportunity for us to like truly do it differently. And like, we did it differently between Luca and Enzo, but like with Enzo, I was so sick during like all of my pregnancy. I think it was like 7 out of the 9 months with like sinus infections and the stomach bug and just like feeling so terrible. And I think it was like the stress manifesting in my body and coming out as like just being sick all the time, because I knew what I was going to be up against once this baby was born, and like just kind of like being on my own because you were traveling and stuff. But it was a commitment and a decision that we made. I feel like a third could be like the opportunity for us to just like show that we can do it differently, and just like, I don't know.
I think that's one frame to look at it from. I think it's a
Yeah.
relevant one. I also look at it as, we are really big into holidays. I'm big into birthdays. I'm showing you how to be big into birthdays.
Oh, I love birthdays. I just don't love celebrating my own.
Yeah, I mean, you're sharing your birthday with Jesus. That's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sharing my birthday with nobody, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I was born on Mother's Day. So I come up against Mother's Day. It's a little tough.
Yeah, that one's tough too, for
But
sure.
I think about the frame of just like, well, what would Christmas be like? What would Thanksgiving be like? What would a trip to Disney World be like? What would vacations be like? What would it be like when all of them have graduated high school and they're in college and they come back for the holidays with their significant others? And instead of being, 6 of us, there's 8 of us. And then when they have grandchildren, instead of being 8 of us, there's, I don't know, maybe they have robots at that point as kids. I mean, it'll be AI. But, I just think about like how that has always felt like something that I like. I've always like loved big families. Like, and I always had a big family like when we lived in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then we moved away and everything kind of just like fell apart. And so I think about just like that too. I think it'd be really great. I think that'd be fun.
It would be really fun.
And the hard part for me is like, I know I'm in for a third, but it has to be something that you're okay with.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like, oh, you get to make the decision, because I'm okay either way. If you're like, hey, we're going, then we're going. And if we're not, we're not. And then we just close the chapter and it's all good because we have an amazing little family.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't have, like, you don't need to make a decision.
Yeah, I know. It feels like a big decision both ways, you know. Have another child feels very big, but then also to like close out a chapter and not fear that like we'll get down the line and be like, gosh, I wish we would have had that third.
And that's the human life experience. You never know if you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never know if going to the Air Force Academy was the right decision because I don't know what the other side is. I'll never know if marrying you was 100% the right decision because I don't know what else is out there. But I know that I'm happy with where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I never know if leaving real estate was the right decision as I'm building this business because of the ups and downs involved. Like, you just don't know. And so I think for me, there's power in making a decision and then be like, fuck it. I'm not even going to think about the other options now.
What about like financially? Do you worry about us being able to like support a family of 5?
No, because I'll bet on me 100% of the fucking time. If there is, I'll never forget. Somebody's like, you're going to go out on your own in real estate. I was like, yeah. They're like, it's all commission based. I was like, I know. And they're like, why? I was like, because I would bet on me more than I bet on anybody else. And so is it going to be hard? Sure. Is it going to be challenging? Yeah. But I have like this knowing inside of me that, one, if I continue to operate the way I'm operating and follow God and follow me, like listening to my heart, like everything's going to be all right. Mm-hmm. And 2, if we had to sell the house and the cars and get rid of some stuff and we had to downsize, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that's going to happen.
It's one of the things that I love about you is like you're just so driven to like just figure it out no matter what, and it's always in like the right heart space of like doing it for our family.
I'm like, I truly believe that in this game of life, I'm like Michael Jordan. Like, if you stack the odds, I want the fucking ball. So I'm not worried about that. Don't let that bother you. I think at the end of the day, I think everybody goes through this conversation about 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. I'll tell you this, I'm a hard pass on 4. I'm not trying to create a hockey team, okay? No. So if we have 3, I'm cool with that. But if we have a 4th, there is 0% chance that I can fight all these little fuckers and like defend myself. Right? At least with 3, I can kick the small one down. Small is relative. I'm 5'6". I'm just saying, like, at least we stand a chance, right? You're getting stronger.
But we're like outnumbered.
Nah, dude. You throw one in a kennel. Just kidding. That is, don't call Child Protective Services on this. But if they're old enough, put them in there with the puppy. Like, y'all figure it out. No,
I wouldn't do that.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be really hard. There'd be moments of us being challenged, and at the end of the day, I don't think we would ever have another kid and regret it.
No, and that's the piece that like sticks in my head of like, well, you'd never regret it, and it's just like a short-term pause on like the plan that I have now for my life.
Yeah. I will say this: there would need to be one big pivot. We would have to come closer. We would have to put us first, and there's a lot of work to be done there from both sides. Mm-hmm. And if we're not willing to do that work and to hold ourselves accountable and to recognize that there's things that I do that bother you that need to be worked on your end and on my end. And conversely, the opposite, there's things that you do that bother me that I need to work on and you need to work on. If we're not willing to do that work and become better individuals and a better couple, then we shouldn't do it. Because what I won't do is have another child at the sacrifice of the marriage.
Yeah, same.
So if you're down with that, with all the stuff that we've talked about.
Well, and I think we're doing that.
I'm not saying we aren't, but there's also things that both of us have avoided. And if we're not willing to do that, I'll give you an example. You know that it bothers me a lot when we're in a fight, when you're doing other shit. But it doesn't stop you, because it's a defense mechanism. Because the moment that you have to sit down with your feelings, I would imagine that it's a lot to handle. So what do? You fold laundry, or you tinker, or you do whatever. And it drives me nuts because it makes me feel like you're not listening to me. So I get triggered. Well, does that mean that you're responsible for my trigger? No, I'm responsible for that. And at the same time, if you know that that's something that is going to set me off, well, you can make a decision to not do it. And at the same time, right, when you come to me and you're like venting about the boys, I don't need to take it as a personal attack. And if we can't do that, and we can't both work on it individually and collectively, then there's no need for us to do this, because we'll just end up growing apart. I just don't believe that's the case.
I don't want to grow apart. That wouldn't be the purpose of adding another child into our family.
I agree with you.
Like, that's not the direction that I want to go.
I don't want to go that way either.
Yeah. So yeah, I recognize that there's things in me that still need to be healed. That's like the path that I've been on this year.
And you've done a great job.
It's been hard, but I've had to work on finding like the joy and taking that hard look at myself in the mirror, like things that I don't like.
Same. And as long as we're committed to doing that, then I have a feeling this will all work out.
Yeah.
But with that said, we're not making a decision on this podcast. So you're just going to have to tune in forever until you find out. Either way, this is my beautiful wife, at Lizzie Ray. I'm at Sergio Nazar on Instagram. If you don't mind, just leave us a review. If you hate it, that's fine. Like, go fuck yourself. But if you love us, give us a 5-star review. Like, that would be really cool too. And tell us why. All right? So, till next time, have an incredible day. Take care. Peace.
Bye.